Rise from your grave.
Hello Quakers, and welcome to another episode of the Quake Grave. You know, this is going to be a pretty special episode. There's going to be no map playthrough, there's no mod to show off, there's no monsters to kill this time. I know it's unfortunate, but this time we're talking about something very, very special. And that's that today, Quake is turning 20 years old. I can't believe it. When Quake came out 20 years ago today, I was 12 years old, and I was probably salivating over screenshots of this game in a magazine, and I could not wait to play it. At the time, I probably had like a 4 megabyte memory computer, and I really needed to get up to 8 to play Quake. You needed 8 megs of RAM, and I remember that was a huge deal because it's the first game that requires you to have like some sort of upgraded computer to play. You didn't need that with Wolfenstein or Doom, right? It kind of ran on everybody's computer. Quake was the first one to run in a 3D engine that needed an upgrade. So instead of getting mad about it, everybody pretty much flocked to whatever computer house that they shopped at. I happened to get my memory upgrade at Best Buy. But I saved, and I did extra chores, and I think I cut lawns and did all that stuff you would do in the 90s to make money, things that kids, I think, aren't allowed to or don't do nowadays. But I saved and scraped and got myself an upgrade from 4 megs to 8 megs, and it sounds so small compared to now, right? I run a PC now with 16 gigabytes of RAM. Could be upgraded to 32, but, you know, 8 megs of RAM. That was what you needed for the minimum to play Quake. If you attempted to install Quake or play Quake at something less than that, even with the shareware, nothing doing. You weren't going to do it. But yeah, I mean, 20 years ago, it's insane. And to think that everybody now still creates new things for it, new maps, new mods, and new total conversions, and everybody's still playing. Like, there's still it's, you know, albeit a bit small, but there's still people playing online, and there's still very rabid following of people playing single player maps. And I see people every day on Quake1.com and Quadicted.com that storm back and say, man, I miss playing Quake. I'm back, I'm posting on the forums, tell me where I can get some maps to play. And there you go. So I feel like every year it's growing and growing and just coming back. People realize it's still a thing, you know, which is great. I mean, it shows that Quake basically is never going to die. And it's interesting, too, because I almost feel like while there's still a small community for Quake 2 and Quake 3, I feel like the community for Quake 1 is bigger than those games. You know, where players may have left Quake 1 back when Quake 2 and Quake 3 came out, they eventually came back, and I gotta say, like, you still have your level website for Quake 3 where they release new levels every once in a while for Quake 3. You still see, like, you know, little messages here and there on forums of people releasing new Quake 2 maps and the like, but Quake 1 still has, like, all kinds of mods, all kinds of maps and everything still being released today in 2016, 20 years later. That was something I did not expect when I came back to Quake a couple of years ago and started streaming what I was playing on here for you to enjoy. And I'm really glad that there's an audience here that enjoys me playing through these too, because I enjoy playing the game. I have a lot of fun, and it's cool to have a community that actually wants to see you play through some of these old maps, you know. So what I have here is my original Quake disc. Now, when Quake came out, I actually borrowed the shareware disc from a friend, and the shareware disc was what had id stuff on it. Now, if you don't remember id stuff was a way that a lot of Quakers were able to get not just Quake, but like Doom and Hexen, Heretic, all those games, pretty much free of charge by putting in a cracked code and downloading it straight from the disc. And there were a lot of people who did this. So when the shareware came out, there were a lot of people who weren't buying the game. However, the game still did pretty well from what I know. And I felt guilty for all that stuff that went down. But because I felt guilty for it, I ended up buying my own copy. And I don't remember if I bought this in 97. I'm pretty sure it had to have been 97. Because at that point I was like, I'm sick of, at the time with the PC you didn't have a whole lot of room on your hard drive, so I had to keep uninstalling games and reinstalling games to play new ones that were coming out. And Quake was one of them, so when I finished a certain game, uninstalled it, came back to Quake, I'd have to keep reinstalling it, and I got to the point where I was like, you know what, I should really just buy Quake. I have disposable income now, I have a part-time job, I'm going to buy it just so that way I'm not only supporting the company, but I also have the disc I can just pop in and install whenever I want. So I think this was 97 that I got this, but this here is the original disc of mine. And I will always cherish this and hold on to this. This will always be on my shelf here by my computer as a reminder, hey, this is one of the games that really, really, really got you into online multiplayer and PC gaming in general. Until Quake came along, I played, a little bit of Doom here and there, but it wasn't a game that I wouldn't play, without putting God mode on and just like killing monsters like crazy. Like, it wasn't a game that I was challenging myself. It was a game at that age, I was probably like 9. It really scared me, It didn't do much for me. But Quake, for some reason, I think it was the multiplayer aspect, is what really drew me into PC gaming. So anyway, yeah, here is the Quake disc. Now, it still has great art when you open it. It's got all this creepy, 9 Inch Nails style art. One of my favorite parts of the whole package is the disc, because the disc, if you can see it off the light reflecting there, and I'm sure many of you Quakers already know this because you probably have your own copies right by you, but the Quake logo is in 4 different areas on the disc. And I've always thought that subtle art on the disc was always so cool. It's like symmetrical, but it's just like, listen, this is Quake. This is all you need to know. Logo, logo, logo. Like, it's not super fancy. It's cool. And I believe they duplicated that for Quake 2 as well. They put the Quake 2 logo on 4 sides. I don't remember if they did it for Quake 3 or not. But I bought those games as well. I was a Quakeaholic. Anything with Quake on it, I was into. One of the other cool things, of course, is the fact that I still have the booklet, complete with a little fold there for some reason. But it actually lists everybody on the back who worked on it. John Carmack, John Romero is listed. American McGee, Tim Willett, who's still with the company, just announced the new Quake Champions is going to be coming out. Adrian Carmack, Kevin Cloud, all these names that everybody knows. And of course, Trent Reznor in 9 Inch Nails for sound effects and music. Always remember they did the sound effects as well. But this is a fun timepiece to go back into when you're opening it. They give you like the really... I've always thought Quake had like the crappiest story. Just like you get a phone call at 4 a.m. By 5:30 you're in the secret installation. The commander explains tersely, it's about the Slipgate device, and it continues from there. Just a silly, fun, stupid like action hero flick story, Also, installing Quake. It even references Windows 3.1 and DOS. How silly, right? Now, what's funny about that is I never had Windows 3.1. I started with Windows 95, and we didn't have the internet immediately. So I remember visiting my grandfather, and he had the internet. So at the time, even though I wasn't the biggest Doom fan, I always loved the idea of the custom gaming, the custom maps and WADs and stuff that you can download for those. So I remember filling up floppy disks with WADs that I could find for Doom just to take them home and experiment with like loading them, because I loved the idea of like programming and everything, and then loading up the console and saying, whatever map to load up. I loved that part as a kid. It was so cool. Tells you the goal of the game. The goal of Quake, by the way, there's 2 basic goals. First, stay alive. Second, get out of the place you're in. And that's it. There's a little bit more from there, but those are your goals. Goes over command line, console stuff. Once you get in, they start showing off screenshots for the weapons. So we got the double-barreled shotgun, the nail gun, the super nail gun, which in the book is actually called the perforator. Just so anybody's calling it super nail gun in the forums, just so you know, I'm going to correct you from now on. It's the perforator. And of course, even screenshots for the ammo, which is great, the armor. But then it just simply lists everybody here as bad guys. So you got your dog, You got your Death Knight. I always say Hell Knight and Death Knight. Everybody, well, a few people have corrected me on that. Let's see. The Enforcer. And they also tell you that you're going to encounter a few of these in the registered version of the game only. So the Enforcer, the Death Knight, the Rotfish, which everybody loves, the Spawn, which everybody loves except me, the Vor. Those are all registered only monsters. Go figure. I gotta say though, I think my favorite part of this whole thing is that there's a commonly asked questions part in the back of the book. One of the questions is about how can I find all the secrets? Don't worry about it. You never have to find a secret to finish a level. Also, some secrets are intentionally hard to find. And then this is a good one here. Don't you worry that Quake teaches people that all problems can be solved by the misuse of deadly force? Simply, no. So, pretty great. And as I was saying, you know, this is something that I'm always going to hold on to. It's always going to be at my desk here, you know, for me to pull out and just look at whenever I feel the need. I just, you know, that's really all I had to say about this. I just want to really wish Quake a happy 20th birthday. So glad that this game came into my life because I feel like it really changed the way I game and the way I look at PC gaming as a whole. And I'm sure it changed a lot of things for other people as well. But, you know, that's all I had for you guys. You know, happy birthday, Quake. Thank you all for watching. And I really hope that you all continue watching because guess what? The next episode of this, we're playing through something, okay? And I know last episode we took care of the announcement of Quake Champions, which people are pretty about. And this time we're talking about the birthday of Quake, which is important, okay? So no complaining. But next episode we'll be playing through something, so stay tuned for that. And I will see you all next time.